Hey, don't turn it off yet. Here's what's coming up on the Nice Guys on Business.
And I also attract my tribe that way. And I know that gets thrown around a lot, but I would rather not chase after people. And if they're not picking up what I'm putting down, that's fine. Like, I wouldn't want to try to convince you otherwise.
Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of the pictures and accounts of this podcast without the express written consent of the Nice Guys on Business is prohibited. Ah, fuck that. Do whatever you want. What are they going to do? Sue you? Whatever. Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, Nice Guy community, welcome back. Welcome back. It is Wednesday. My name is Strickland Bonner. On the other side of the microphone, Mr. Doug Sandler. We have a great interview today, don't we, Doug?
Yeah, Amy Brooks. She was great in interview for me. Because let me tell you where I met Amy. I was doing a speech for the Baltimore Business Journal, and Amy was in the audience, and it was like a sea of gray, and she was wearing this bright yellow sundress. I think it was a bright yellow sun. You know me as a guy. I don't know if exactly it was. She could have been a pantsuit for all I know. But she has hair that completely took up the entire row, and she was wearing this bright yellow something, and everybody else was just in their suit. So who's the one that I'm going to focus on during my speech?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it was Amy. So after I did the speech thing, she came up and we started talking, and I discovered that she has a podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's called Voice, Pen, and Purpose. Is that what the name of it is?
Her website is voicepenpurpose.com. And yes, she has a blog as well as a website, and it is Voice, Pen, Purpose. And what's so cool is she is all about getting your book written.
Yep.
I mean, the podcast is interesting, but on her website it says, "Are you ready for the journey to begin? It's going to be awesome and terrifying." And I love that because she's right up front. She's really like, hey, it's not just all roses and butterflies and all this shit. It's like, this is going to be really fucking hard, but it's going to be amazing. So you need to get rolling with it.
Yeah, we talk about the fears of writing a book. Who can write a book? Can everybody write a book? Is it challenging to write a book? The trials and tribulations of writing a book. What happens after you write the book? We go through that. And if you're not an author and you don't even think that you have a book in you, this is totally the podcast episode for you because it's very interesting how she presents her material. And even if you don't become a client of Amy's, listen to her story, listen to her backstory, and listen to the reasons why writing a book may be the thing for you. There's so many different promotional properties. There's some great things that can come out of writing a book. VoicePenandPurpose.com is her website and her podcast. And she wrote this fun book, Stuff Your Supermom Forgot to Tell You, about orgasms, apologizing, meditation, and more. I mean, that's a pretty good book title, isn't it?
I love that book title. So I guess she's going to be okay if I curse a little bit in our intro. Sounds like she's pretty casual.
She's totally okay with everything. She is as loose as the curls in her hair. That's pretty good. I like that.
That's a good one. I like
that. All right. So wait, did we do the promise statement already?
No, we have not done the promise statement.
All right. The promise statement is to provide a learning experience that is entertaining and adds value to your life. If you feel like we're doing that, short of that, if we're there, let us know. Please reach out at Nice Guy on Biz or at DJ Doug is my handle and Strick's handle. But you might as well just reach out to me because Strick is very, very busy.
Right. Exactly.
All right. So let's get to the interview with Amy Brooks, the Nice Guys on Business podcast, proud to be affiliated with the C-Suite Radio Network. All right, let's get to Amy. Amy Brooks, our guest today, once described our relationship as peas and carrots. I think that's a good thing. I was kind of digging it. And if you've ever considered writing a book, so the purpose is there, but you have some trouble either finding your voice or knowing how the process works, Amy is your Supergirl. I mean, literally, she is your Supergirl. She's got that superpower. Totally rocking the stylish frames, huge smile, and ultra cute nose ring. So excited to share the mic with you today. Amy Brooks, welcome to the Nice Guys.
Thank you so much. I'm excited that everyone knows I have a nose ring.
Yeah, well, I try to share. I want to try to create as many visuals as I could. And as I was Nice Guy community, so you're aware, I met Amy as I was speaking at a Baltimore Business Journal morning session thing when Baltimore Business Journal first called me and said, "Hey, can you speak at 7:30?" I thought, "Hey, that's awesome. I'd be happy to do it." I love, like after happy hour, everybody's got a little drink, and then they said it's 7:30 a.m. I said, "What the fuck?"
That was brutal. I mean, mean, to be up and to be dressed, I haven't done it since leaving my job, and I was so happy when you said I usually work from home in your pajamas. I was like, oh gosh, because other people here look like they actually get up and go to work every day.
Yes.
And yeah, we're the two pajama people.
Oh, totally. I'm a pajama guy. As a matter of fact, I in my let's see. As of the time of this recording, it is a little bit after. Is that 11 or 10? I don't know.
10.
It's a little after 10. Yes, I am still in my pajamas, and
I am too.
Let's see. Mine today have 4-leaf clovers on them because I'm feeling lucky today.
Oh, that's cute. Mine don't match at all. I try to go for some sort of stylish not matching. And when my kids get home on the bus, as soon as I hear the bus pull up, I'm like, oh no, I need to get dressed because I don't want them to have memories of their childhood as their mom, like being in the same pajamas as when she sent them off to school. So I will often
But hold on a second though. So I see that as like actually a good thing. When your kids leave, okay, so you're putting a roof over your kid's head. You are feeding your kids. You're smiling. You're laughing. You're wearing your pajamas all day, and your kids come home. Do they think, my mom is so freaking lazy? No, they think, we're having a good time. Mom's cool. Look, she gets to wear pajamas all day.
Yeah, my kids go to school and say, my dad doesn't drink beer, but my mom does. They say like cool things like that. I am open to the fact that I know I'm not an alcoholic, and I have a beer like once every so often, and that is what they interpret. They wrote a whole essay when they were younger, one of my sons, about how his favorite thing to do is play wrestling video games. At that time, we had no video game like system. And I was like, what are you talking about? I think like one time for 10 minutes at someone's house, he had played it. And I was like, oh, great. So I'm glad like that made the headline of your essay. They go to school and tell everybody I write books. And they're like, my teachers want your book. And the one they were referring to, my first one, has the word orgasm in the title. And I was they're like, just bring it in, Mom. You don't have to give it to them. You can just let them see it. I'm like, no, you guys just really don't understand. And
so that's the title of one of Amy's books, Stuff Your Supermom Forgot to Tell You About Orgasms, Apologizing, Meditation, and More. So we'll put a link in the show notes so that you
in case you want a teacher gift. Yeah.
In case you want to have access to that. So what really stood out the most is I'm speaking to this group of extremely professional people, all wearing their suits and ties, and I love when I get to talk to a group of very, very dedicated loyalists that work with the company, and they put their suit on, they go to work, and that's oftentimes what I will get. And right in the middle of that, all of the suit, because I'm just seeing a sea of suit as I'm talking to the crowd, I see Amy, and Amy's got hair that's out like a mile left and right of her head. And it was probably a tough morning getting out of the house, as she's just alluded to, because she's not a morning person, or maybe not a day person either.
No.
So she had hair left and right, and she had these big old frames on her face, and she had this nose ring, and I'm thinking, man, I think that if I'm going to attach to somebody in the crowd, which I often try to do as I'm speaking to a group, I'm going to just focus on Amy's hair.
Do you remember I was wearing a canary yellow blazer too?
Oh, yeah,
it was like
that's right.
Super bright yellow. I thought you were going to say that because I was like, I'm going to be on for these people. I was not sure what to think. And then I got there and they had bagels and lox, and I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah, but I didn't need onions. So
we, that's right. He had no idea who you were going to be talking to that day.
Yes.
Yeah. So we haven't even gotten to the conversation, and I'm already having a good time.
Sorry. I know. And at one point I was going to drop in like, guess who I'm friends with? Julie Reisler. I just texted her this morning. Yes. I was looking through the old podcasts and I was like, oh my goodness, look at all these podcasts. You have 1 million. And I'd listened to some already, and I knew of you before, but I saw her name and I was like, what, huh? And she was on my podcast. And so I texted her. I'm like, dude, I'm about to go on Nice Guys podcast. She's like, yay, they're so great. And then she did like all the emojis like you both do so many emojis.
Oh my gosh. Whenever I exchange text messages with Julie, I'm trying to see through the sea of emojis and trying to get to the words that she has to say.
What's coming out of your mouth?
What's so amazing about Julie, just so, and we won't have an entire podcast about Julie, but what's so great about Julie is that I had coffee with her as she was, I guess, a couple of months before her book release. So she was asking for advice on the book release, and maybe that was already at a time when she had spoken to you or maybe gotten some consulting from you. So I'm sure everything that you said I completely fucking just threw out the window, because I probably threw you under the bus 17 times this Sunday, because I'm not a traditionalist when it comes to book writing. But what was so amazing to me in having the conversation at Starbucks with her, we were sitting at a Starbucks staring at like the entire supermarket that was right there, and the shopping center. One of these stores in the shopping center was a Panera, and I found out that Julie used to be a trainer at Panera, and I'm like, what? You used to be a trainer at Panera? It's like so counter what. It's not that that's a bad position. That's a great position to have. One that I think I would thrive in, but it's just not one that I necessarily see Julie having a beginning to a career. Anyway, neither here nor there. Yeah, that's funny. And in all the conversations that I've had with you over the last several weeks or couple of weeks, or in the conversations I've had with you, not that we've had so many, I guess I haven't run into the, hey, did you know Julie Reisler?
No, and I don't know. I would never have thought. We were introduced by mutual friends too, because I listened to the podcast about your origin story. So yeah, you and I met because my friend takes me to networking and business things because I don't know what I don't know. And so she'll always say, you want to come with me to this? And then I say yes. And ironically, she introduced me to Julie by happenstance, because she took me to something at Still Point Spa, and we have a mutual friend in Tori Pade, who is an amazing businesswoman. She's fun to talk to. And so she brought together a group of women to have a little brainstorming powwow. It was funny because she said about having a soiree, like a seasonal gathering, and I'm like, Brian, my husband, you have to have something to wear, and we're going to be social, and you need to gear yourself up. And then she's like, you and 5 other women. I'm like, Brian, you're not invited. And he's like, okay, you're on, you're off, get out.
No, he was probably really happy when he found out he was off the hook. What does Brian do? What does one's husband, if you're Amy Brooks, what does one's husband do?
Well, that's a great question. He was a district manager for a big company that will remain nameless, and they
Why do they have to remain nameless?
Yeah, well, it doesn't have a happy ending, so they got bought out, and so they said, hey, you want to go back to the sales floor, like 5 steps down, or do you want a severance package after 13 years? And so I was like, severance package, please. I know he was very stressed. So yeah, he left, and then now he's been super supportive of me and the book writing business and the publishing stuff and the speaking and all that goodness.
Oh, hell
and he was the one that got the kids ready that day.
You're the only one making money now. Of course he's supportive.
Dude, well, the severance was nice, and then now he's been like dabbling in Lyft and Uber just because he wants to like just do something and get out of the house but not commit, because I don't know if I told you this, we're moving to Costa Rica. We're going to sell everything.
You did.
So he's like, I don't want to get a job now. I'll wait until we're down there, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to do or start an online business like me.
Nice guy community. This is the shit. I mean, this is how it goes. You know, so you get a husband or a wife, depending if you're a man or a woman or both. It doesn't matter. You get a husband or a wife. You get them to lose their job, and then they rely upon you for the income. And then you guys move out of the country and enjoy your life online selling shit.
It's true. It's true, and it's been such a. I mean, in regards to like who's listening, we were super traditional. I was a teacher for 16 years, so Baltimore City and Howard County, and like super legit pension and healthcare and all that stuff. And he was with a big corporation, and he lost his position, but like he could have stayed on but neither one of us had a mentality of scarcity. We both knew it was time, and so you get those nudges, pushes, and all that good stuff. But I readily, like, I'm going to quit my job. I'm putting in my letter of resignation July 1st, and July 8th, 9th was when they had a surprise meeting and said, we're getting rid of all district managers. we're restructuring. And I was like, wow, we went from 2 Standard Joes to no Standard Joes. So it's been really a defining time for us. It's fun.
So how did you guys pick Costa Rica? I mean, of all the places in the world, have you been there? Do you know anything about it? I mean, how did you pick out of there?
I hear good things. Yeah.
Gosh, I hope it's more than that.
Well,
please tell me, Amy, it's more than that.
We wanted to go there. When did we want to go there? So early in our marriage, so just the backstory, like we got married really young and we knew that. So we were on the 5-year plan before we were going to start reproducing. So our first date was it's true. I don't want to co-parent with you. We're too immature. But yeah, we met, our first date was on my 21st birthday. He didn't want to go out with me. He was, quote, in his cleaning clothes and too busy. And I was like, change your damn clothes and pick me up. And my girlfriends thought I was crazy, but we went on a few bad dates and then I hung in there and it turned out he was the love of my life. So that was back in 1998. So almost
20 years.
Yeah, almost 20 years.
Yeah, almost 20 years.
Thank you for the math.
And, well, I know it's still early in your world. I know it's still early in my world too. But my math skills aren't so good. But my abacus was fired up from a little bit earlier.
I'm so glad your abacus was ready. So anyway, we wanted to travel, and then he kept kind of working and like, no, I need to work, and I was teaching, and I said, let's go away, let's go somewhere else, and so finally he agreed, and we wanted to go to Central America. And so Costa Rica was on the list, and we ended up going to China instead. Obviously, that's like,
because it's right around the corner from Costa Rica. Let me look at a map. Oh, it's not even close. Is it in the same hemisphere?
Well, Central and South, no, it's not. Central and South America are not as tech savvy, and they're not, culturally, you go, you meet people, you make connections, people hire you on the spot, that kind of thing. When we posted this, and this was a long time ago, I feel like this is totally in line with your podcast, by the way. This is not a digression. This is like a career move. Yeah. Okay, good.
We're doing it.
So China, we both taught English at a university, and I just went on idealist.org, I think, and I just was looking for jobs, and they don't require that you are a certified teacher. Brian wasn't. And so, yeah, we got picked up. Somebody said, hey, we'd love to have you fly out to the Fujian province in China. It's like right across from Taiwan, but on mainland China. And we taught English.
Just so you're aware, I'm zooming out as far as I can on the world map, and I cannot get to China from Nicaragua or Costa Rica.
Yeah. No, it was totally like someone wants us. They're like, we'll give you a visa. We'll give you free housing. We'll pay for your flight. And we were like, okay. So we went, and it was amazing. No one visited us. So we're hoping to have a different experience. But over and over again, we want to we go away every other year just as a couple. And then the, opposite year, we'll take our 3 boys and do something as a family. So keeping love alive. And we wanted to go to Costa Rica, and then Mexico is cheaper. And then we wanted to go to Costa Rica with the boys and the summer. And then when he lost his job, and I'm a digital nomad now. So I thought, why don't we just move there and let the boys see what it's like to be...
How old are your boys?
They are all in the midst of birthdays. So I'm going to say when we move there in June, they will be 8, 11, and 13. And the middle school years, which I lived through, and I'm now raising kids through, and I taught middle school for a few years, they're the worst. I don't know if you remember your kid in middle school.
Well, Amy, you got to remember that what I have done for a living for the last 30 years, I entertain 13-year-old kids.
So sorry, I forgot. At what age is a bar mitzvah? Oh yeah, like middle school.
Yeah, 13 years old. So that's the majority of the people I've been hanging. That's why I'm so immature mentally, because I hang out with 13-year-olds for a living.
Oh my gosh, my vocabulary took a real plunge when I was teaching middle school and high school. I'm not good at using polysyllabic words anymore. I'm like, what's one syllable word that could serve a purpose here? So Yeah,
I want to get into what you do, because I think there's so much value in what you have to offer. Not that I want to, definitely leave the fact that you're. I was looking again at the map, and I see that Hawaii from Costa Rica to China, where you have been before.
There's no connection. Yeah,
it's half. Hawaii is like a third of the way there.
I know. Yeah,
it's nowhere near. Well,
it's really
we wish you a ton of success in your journeys to Costa Rica for the first time. Oh, by the way, we're moving there.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what you do for a living. You help people. What is it called? With your website
Right.
is called Peace, Power, and Profit. I love that.
No, that's not what it is. Oh, that's
I know that's not the name of your company. That's the three areas that writing a book can really do for people. But your whole position is helping people actually put together their thoughts and their words and get the entire process of writing a book down. Mm-hmm. So we all have a book in us, but how do we tease it out? That is really that's really the area that I wanted to focus on for a couple of minutes. How do you get it out of you? Because don't we all have it?
Yes, you need to just tire me. No, I'm kidding.
Right, okay with that.
End of interview. Now, I think the most important thing is really getting clear on what your voice is. So my company is called Voice, Pen, Purpose. So once you figure out what your voice is, you can pick up the pen that is appropriate. And there's so many different ways to share your story. It's not just writing it. It's not just a book. It's not just a blog. It could be a podcast. I think you're sharing your story in a very organized and controlled, chaotic kind of way through a podcast. And other folks are going to make a YouTube channel, and other folks are going to be contributing articles. So the pen shows up lots of ways, but all of that leads to our bigger purpose. So back to the question, once you can figure out what your voice is, you can really step into that authentic perspective pretty quickly. And I have an exercise. It's so silly. It's not silly. It's so simple. Let's put it that way. I just always have people write down 20 words to describe themselves. And, I guide them a little bit and say, like, are you a brother? Are you a husband? Are you a boyfriend? Are you an ex-boyfriend? Yes. People can be writing all these down. Were you a cashier? Listing jobs. Are you a friend? And then I also encourage people to list things like race, religion, sexuality, politics, like anything that could describe you, including things that people have said about you. So, if you're bad in math or you're annoying, or all of the words, to kind of see them on paper, and there invariably are aha moments. So it's like a 5-minute activity to get to at least 20 words. But
so is that where it all starts for like somebody calls you and says, I know I want to write a book, or I know I'm going to be a speaker, or I know I want to be a consultant, but I really need to have is that part of the purpose? Because I think that, I think personally the hardest part about writing the book was just picking up the phone and making the commitment that I was going to write the book. It wasn't actually the writing the book part. Yeah, it was time consuming, and there was a bunch of shit that I had to go through in order to do it, and stuff I had to sacrifice. I mean, I had a book coach that kind of helped me through that. But I think the part that scared me shitless the most was that part where I just said, okay, I've now committed to this. I've committed dollars to this. I've committed time to this. I'm now accountable to somebody. But I still wasn't sure until I sat down with him what I was going to write about. I knew I needed a big calling card because my speaking coach told me I needed to do this in order to be a highly paid speaker. So do people come to you with different purposes? It's not just about business. It could be just about other stuff too, right?
Oh, yeah. There are lots of reasons, and people have different skill sets and different fears. So, I thought it was interesting when you spoke, like right away when I mentioned what I did, you started talking about mindset. And I know that I have overcome lots of teenage mindsets, which is very challenging, in writing, that they don't know what to say or how to say it. So it just depends on if I'm working with a group and we have to do kind of like collective action towards getting closer to their goal. A lot of times I'll speak people's fears out loud, and when they hear them, they realize either it's silly or that other people have those fears, and that can kind of put things into perspective. when I work with people one-on-one, it's of course super specific to them. And a lot of times we tease things out in conversation. They tell me about what they want to write about. And the more we go deeper into that, sometimes they're like, actually, I think another book is going to come out first. So I've written books with people, co-authored them. I've ghostwritten books for people. And just the ghostwriting books, I've done a memoir, I've done self-help books, All right,
well, help me for a second.
Yeah.
And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah,
I want to try to, because I think that we're like on step 6, and I want to just go back for a second on. But that's all right. That's all right. That's why I'm here. I'm here.
Let's
Everybody just calm down for a second. I want to go back because part of what the issue is when people call you make the first call to you, there's questions that they have. I know I want to write a book, but okay. So can you help me show some relatability to the Nice Guy community so that they know what it is that your callers are typically calling about? Because they're my community is probably thinking that too. So give me some questions that people
who
say,
are
I want to write a book, but
tons of books and so one is make a passive income, and that's going to be the cornerstone of their money making career. But then there are other folks who have all the information. The book is going to help them get clear on what they're selling. It's going to be another one is I started a book their clients, and I don't it's like going to be something they give away for free. I went on a TV show. I feel like for your folks, this is going to just be one other platform for them to be present on. And why not? Book, but a polished and permanent form of their message.
People say I write a book, but I just don't think I'm a good writer.
Who aren't necessarily on Facebook and aren't tweeting. Well, there are a couple ways around it though too. I mean, there's not like I'll talk to them about ghostwriting, but it's so much work for me. I don't want to do that, so I dissuade people. I'm like, you can do it. So the recording. Did you ever do that? Did you ever talk to text or do any kind of writing?
No, I have my book is audio also, and I actually did the recording myself, which was totally cool. I mean, it was great.
No, but I mean writing it. Like where people speak the book, like they just think out loud, like people who are very good at speaking their thoughts. I don't particularly like this myself. I tried it. So I have my Yeti mic. I hooked it up to my computer. I did the talk to text, and it was pretty good. It was pretty accurate. And so I've heard of people who've written whole books just speaking it into their headphones.
Oh, that's crazy. I would wonder how that would be with like the editing process and all, because the way I speak is totally different than how I write. Let me pick a fight, or maybe not for a second, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think that from a book writing perspective, you're probably more of an artiste than I am, because I think that you probably have that slightly different creative zest than I do. Here's what I say when I talk to audiences all the time about the book writing journey. For me, I say writing a book is 20% writing and 80% marketing and building your network. Does this resonate with you or make you want to throw up a little in your mouth? Because I've said that to some authors and they're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's not right.
I think it serves so many purposes. It's hard. A lot of what I'm doing now, I see the layers of how it's serving. So I do promote books as business cards. And there are people that I talk to and I say, you don't make money off of your business cards. You design them, you make them eye-catching, you give them out, they demonstrate some aspect of you or your business, but at no point are you going to hand a business card to somebody and be like, all right, that's $4.50. Like you give it away.
I do. You
do? You're such a jerk.
I say it's $20.
No, I'm talking about your business card for real. Like a business card, you don't do that. So if your book is serving as a business card, I think that it can demonstrate a lot about you and your business model or your work ethic. I feel like that comes shining through with your book in particular. And that's part of your branding. And that's a really similar quality to what a book and a business card actually have in common. So yes, there are people who are going to sell tons of books and make a passive income, and that's going to be the cornerstone of their money-making career. But then there are other folks who the book is going to help them get clear on what they're selling. It's going to be an extension of them for their audience or their clients. It's going to be something they give away for free. Like I went on a TV show last week and I had all my books there. They propped them up. The camera went by them. So that was like my resume in my arms. And then I put it there. And then when I left, I had some of my clients' books with me. So I left my books with the producers and they want to have them come on. And they were able to kind of see what that guest looked like, what they sounded like, what they would be talking about. So I feel like for your folks, this is going to just be one other platform for them to be present on. And why not? It's a polished and permanent form of their message that can reach people who don't listen to podcasts, who aren't necessarily on Facebook and aren't tweeting. It's just different strokes for different folks.
I think that's totally what frightens people sometimes, though, is they think here is this thing I'm going to put out there in the world, and I think we all are a little bit afraid of what the world thinks about us. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I first wrote my book, when I started getting reviews on Amazon, I was like, oh shit, this is going to be, now I've just opened myself up to the world, and then I got this 1-star review from somebody, and I've had 100 and some odd reviews, and one of them was a poor review saying, tell me something new, Sampler. I'm like, fuck you, man. Mm-hmm. I was like you put yourself out there, and he wasn't saying that the writing wasn't good. He just said, hey, this is just another guy's story. I'm like, well, it's my story, so don't read it's exactly. So
go live another life. I'm living my life.
True to my form, I replied to the comment on Amazon, and I said, hey, I respect your comments. I appreciate your comments. It sounds like you didn't get much out of my book. If you let me know where to send the refund back to, I would be more than happy to. And never heard from the guy. I'm like, just give me the respect to respond again to me, to say, no, I was just having a bad day, or I just didn't really. The book just didn't work for me. He just didn't want to have anything to do with me, or she didn't.
He was just a troll.
Yeah. Just a troll. That's funny. I've dealt with a couple of trolls in the last few days, so I understand that.
I get a lot of trolls. Somebody, I think it was Gabby Bernstein or somebody, said she sends love and light, delete. Love and light, delete. I delete people all the time because I have a public Facebook page. And I've been unfriending a lot of people for the same reason. Like, you can see my stuff, it just doesn't need to come up on your feed.
No, and the way I feel about it is, okay, if I delete their comments, then I'm running from the reality of what they feel, and I want people to be able to see. I think it's very much appropriate for somebody that it's branded the way I am, for them to see me show respect to somebody that has not positive critique, a lot of critical thinking, and from how do I handle it. So for me, it's almost like I don't mind the negative comments because I like to show people how I can respond and not be a dickbag about it.
Maybe. Some of my trolls are like, you're not me. I can't remember. Some of them are like,
yeah, I get it.
Somebody's disgusting or something. I'm like, well, that's just harassment. I agree with you to engage with somebody who's actually like a follower or responding to something normally, but I'm talking about the folks who pop up out of nowhere. I'm like, how'd you find me?
How do you even know related? Who I am?
They're not connected to anybody. It's creepy.
Stop looking through my windows. Okay.
Yes, that's me closing the blinds on them. Not going out front in my pajamas being like, let's talk about why you're staring at me in bed. Yep. No, I don't do that. Yep. But I did want to say that when people have that fear that there's going to be negativity, I just really embraced it. And it was weird. I don't know where that came from. It could have been teaching in Baltimore City for so long, where at some point I realized I wasn't cool. I wasn't black. I wasn't down. I wasn't hip. Like, there's just nothing. So my brand as a teacher was, I'm Miss Brooks. I am, I'm happy. I'm friendly. I will always have a safe space for you to learn. I love seeing people thrive. And I just owned it. And I feel like with my books, it's the same way, where I'm like, this is, like you said, this is my life. And if you don't like it, I'm fine with that. I totally respect people's right to not like me. And that releases so much pressure. And I also attract my tribe that way. And I know that gets thrown around a lot, but I would rather not chase after people. And books help me do that, because it gives me a chance to say my piece, and then I'm quiet and people can respond to it however they want. And if they're not picking up what I'm putting down, that's fine. Like, I wouldn't want to try to convince you otherwise.
I completely agree. And that's the kind of person that you are through and through. And even in our short time that we've known each other, I feel the same way about you, is that you really just, if you don't like me, then that's fine. That's your, that's your thing. So Amy's website is called voicepenandpurpose.com. I want you to take a moment and check it out after you listen to the podcast. We'll put the link in the show notes. Amy, if any of our listeners want to get in touch with you, any of our community, how can they do that? Because I know there are many in our community that I've personally spoken to that have books in them and that just have not written it yet. So how can they get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on Facebook, so that's an option, but just Amy, AMY, at voicepenpurpose.com. There's no and in there. It's just all 3 words smooshed together. Just email me. I get emails all the time where people say, like, this is what I'm thinking. Would this fly as a book? And my answer is generally yes, but then I have like lots of follow-up questions.
We have to figure it out from there. So thank you, Amy, for being a part of the show today. I had a whole bunch of other stuff on the agenda I wanted to cover, but we were talking so much about Costa Rica. I think we missed it, but we'll get to it. We're going to have a follow-up interview. We'll do what we do with Julie. We have her on the show just randomly just because we like Julie.
Yeah. I'm going to have writing retreats in Costa Rica, so you guys can like come down and take off some clothes and write a book.
Oh,
it's hot. That's what I meant.
It didn't. Or something else. You never know what Amy's husband's into.
I know there are lots of very like funky liberal cool retreat centers down there that you can be all naked and shrooming and whatnot. But that's not really my bag. But hey, do you?
Do you? Well, Amy Brooks, thanks for being a part of the show today. Thanks for sharing your message. And again, voicepenpurpose.com is her website. Make sure you check it out, and we'll get in touch with her very soon. Amy, thanks for being a part of the show today.
Thanks, Doug.
Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
You've put enough in little Johnny's 529. Now, it's time to really help out someone in need. The Nice Guys on Business need your support. Please go to patreon.com, and for as little as $2 a month, you can help these guys continue to ramble on and on and on, week after week after week. Thank you for your support. And boy, is it weak. Now you can turn it off.